ladies and gentlemen, to Fan Appreciation Month here on Reaction and Review. Yes, guys, I'm closing out 2012 with another Fan Appreciation Month, and for those of you who are kind of new to my channel, you don't know what that all means, Fan Appreciation Month is when I dedicate the entire month to movies sent in by you guys. So, yes, these are all movies that were sent in off of the Amazon.com wish list. And I do thank everyone who has bought stuff off there. I am trying to get through all of it as fast as I can, but well, other shit keeps on coming up. So hopefully I will get through it all a little bit quicker next year. So we are starting this Fan Appreciation Month though with a movie from 1987 directed by Stuart Gordon. For those of you who don't know who Stuart Gordon is, he's the guy who directed Re-Animator. If you haven't seen Re-Animator, go watch Re-Animator, but do it after you're done watching this. All right, just like do me that much of a courtesy. But this movie is not Re-Animator. No. This one is Dolls, and I'm gonna tell you, when I was a kid, we used to have a couple of video stores in my little small hometown. And I used to see copies of this thing in every single one of them. And for whatever reason, I was never interested in watching them. And then about a year, maybe 2 years ago, I actually read up about this thing. I actually was reading up on the plots of a whole lot of Stuart Gordon's movies. And this one all of a sudden had piqued my interest, and I kind of thought about watching it at some point. And then I started doing this series, and then somebody requested it, and I threw it on the Amazon wish list, and somebody bought it, and the rest is about to be history once I shut up and I start watching it. So, as always, I don't know if this thing is going to be any good. I do know it is directed by a guy who knows how to make really quality film. However, that's really about as far as my knowledge of this movie goes. I have not seen a single trailer. I haven't seen anything from it, minus the handful of still shots on the back of the DVD case. But you know what? I have noticed that my best experiences with these are when I go in completely blind. So why don't we see if this movie's any good, shall we? So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Dolls. Alright, guys. I'd like to say this right now. Every single one of these, like, floating fucking doll heads in these opening credits are, like, ridiculously creepy. And I mean creepier than even normal, like, dolls are. I mean, their eyes are so empty and lifeless, and they just look to be, like, piercing into your soul. It is, like, really fucking creepy, okay? Okay, this is officially the coolest fucking teddy bear I've ever seen. And now I want to know exactly where in the hell I can get one. I would pay money for a fucking giant killer teddy bear, alright? This is fucking awesome, dude. So her reasoning behind wanting to rob this old couple blind is because they'll be dead soon. Sure, makes total sense to me. Why not? You know, if there was a strange force that was dragging me around on the floor, I really think that the last thing I would do is have my arms out perfectly so that way I can slide easier. Just saying, I really think I would try to stop myself a little bit instead of being rammed into a fucking wall 4 times by something that is small and giggling and kind of gremlin-ish. So, this fucking genius holds a doll over his bare foot and tries to light the face on fire without actually expecting what looked to be a wax or plastic head would melt and drip onto his foot. Wow. The people in this film are as bright as burnt out bulbs, man. It's actually getting a little bit depressing. Okay, folks, there is a very, very valuable lesson which this movie teaches. And that is that if you are a fucking man-child, killer dolls will let you live. You learn something new every day, guys. Well, folks, that was Dolls. And, I'll I'd like to note a small continuity error here at the very end. Yes, guys, I'm going to nitpick a fucking continuity error in the closing credits. Fuck you, I'm going to do this. As far as I can tell, this entire movie is set in England. Why? Because the steering wheel is on the wrong side of the goddamn car. Closing credits are here. There's a brand new car, and it's pulling up in front of the mansion. And the driver and the steering wheel is on the proper side now. So did the mansion like teleport to the US or something, or was this just a huge like mess up in filming and they just like ran out of cars with the steering wheel on the wrong side? I don't know, I don't care, just something I thought I'd mention. Now, time to actually review the movie itself now that I'm done nitpicking about some minor piddly bullshit in the closing credits. That is probably one of the most trivial things I have ever bitched about in any episode, so I feel kind of proud of that. Alright, so, let's start with the writing. Now, if you were to watch this, and you were to, say, get past, like, the first half, and you shut it off just thinking, this shit is boring as hell, I would not blame you, because, I'm going to tell you, this movie has a very slow boil. I mean, it takes forever to actually get going. Excuse me. Partially because they are trying to introduce you to all of the characters and the house and, everything that sort of ties into the whole story of these dolls are, alive. It takes them so long that you might honestly begin to stop, giving a shit, and you might be tempted to shut it off. But if you are able to get past all that and you're able to really, really wait until the story picks up, then, oh my god, you are really in for a really good movie. Now, I do have to say that, of course, this came out in 1987. Around that time, there were a ton of movies like this, where you had killer creatures that were all kind of small because everybody wanted to cash in on gremlins, which is why we have Troll and Hobgoblins and Ghoulies, Munchies, Dolls, Puppet Master. All of these were trying to, in their own tiny little way, cash in on the, they were all trying to cash in on the monster that was Gremlins. And certain ones worked out really well, certain ones didn't. This one kind of falls in the middle. I mean, it's not as good as, say, Munchies or Puppet Master or Ghoulies, but it certainly is not down in the territory of Hobgoblins. So, there is that. But you see, the story, again, if you can get past that first half, you do have a very interesting story, and it is certainly unique. I would like to say that I kind of wish that the characters were perhaps just maybe developed a little bit faster and maybe a little bit better, because nobody here has any honest-to-God, real motivation. We basically have someone who, we basically have the kid who's just a kid. Then we have this guy who's essentially like a fucking man-child. And then we have the kid's dad who's a douchebag. We have the kid's stepmom who is a complete bitch. We have these two fucking hitchhikers who are basically like British punks, and both of them have no real personality beyond that. Oh, and they're also petty thieves. Well, not really petty, because they want to loot the house, they want to steal the man-child's wallet, bunch of other stupid shit. And then that's it. That really is it, guys, for exactly how deep a lot of these characters go. And then we have the old couple who own the house. And they also make all of the dolls. At least, yeah, let's just say that they make all of the dolls. That's really it for all of their depth as well. So there really is nothing here in terms of, characters, and they spend that first half attempting to build on those ultra shallow characterizations, and I think that is why the movie just drags in the first half, because it has nothing to really work off of, outside of just showing you that every single character in this film, minus 4 of them, should and will fucking die, and it's going to be the happiest moment of your life when you see each of them get fucking iced. So, now that I've talked about the writing, again, writing's okay if not for a couple of pacing issues in the first half. Let's talk about acting. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, the acting in this film is in no way good. However, though, the acting is not bad either. It's all kind of, like middle of the fucking road kind of in terms of acting. The best acting almost seems to come from the kid, and then everybody else just kind of phones it in beyond that. Nobody here is turning in something which is going to win no one here turns in a performance which would ever have been considered for a fucking Oscar. However, though, considering the fact that this was a film that was directed by Stuart, Gordon, and was produced by Charles Band, and I've already mentioned Stuart, Gordon's credits, but Charles Band's the guy who created Puppet Master and Blood Dolls and almost everything else that came out of fucking Full Moon. So we have these two guys. Neither of them were ever known for having films with really strong acting, but they were known for having really strong writing, and that, again, this movie kind of has that. And the acting is nothing special, but the acting isn't complete shit either. There really is no one who turns in a performance which is so bad I kind of feel the need to bitch about it, but no one also turns in anything that is so good I kind of warrants mention either. Everything here is kind of, again, it's all kind of like middle of the road. Effects. Right here is sort of where this film kind of sort of shines, and it kind of falters as well. Because, see, this movie came out 2 years before the original Puppet Master movie. And for those of you who've been watching my series since the very beginning, I spent an entire month dedicated just covering the Puppet Master movies. And with almost all of them, the one thing I could heavily praise was the special effects, especially all of their stop motion and string work. Well, this film being essentially like a Puppet Master like prototype of sorts, stop motion is very, very jerky, and it's not quite as fluid as Charles Band would get 2 years later with Puppet Master. So that much there is probably going to pull you like right out of the film is just the fact that all of the stop motion is very, very jerky. It's very, very unnatural. It feels very awkward. And as for string work, if I'm not mistaken, when I covered the entire Puppet Master series, only once did I ever truly mention, at least to my memory, I only remember one time when I was able to say that, yes, you can clearly see the strings which are holding up the puppet. But here there are at least 3 or 4 cases where you can clearly see the strings on dolls which are not supposed to be marionettes, so you can't really write it off as that. And it just kind of pulls you out again because you can see the strings. And it just seems so amateurish, and once more, I do have to say that I kind of see this as sort of a Puppet Master like prototype, and so it is very good to see that they fixed all those problems 2 years later when they did Puppet Master. But here, those are things which could very, very easily pull you right out of the film, and it might take you a while to get back into it. So I just have to warn you, special effects here are really good by 1987 standards, but they could have been better. With just maybe like a little bit of extra polish, every single effect in this film could have looked 10 times better. So that's just kind of a warning here if you are one of those people who notices really poor special effects and you notice them quickly. That might throw you off. However, though, beyond the stop motion and beyond the string work, every other effect in this film is frickin' amazing. Now, there is a huge effect shot, like sequence of effect shots, right towards the end of the film, and I cannot really describe it for you, otherwise I'm gonna spoil, the ending. However, it is a mix of makeup and optical effects and prosthetics. It looks amazing. And it is just this fantastic mix which just looks awesome when committed to film. So that means, guys, that all told, the special effects in this film are a huge mixed bag. I'd like to talk about the music. I don't normally mention music unless there's something worth mentioning. When the British punk hitchhikers are listening to their fucking radio, that is some of the worst rock music I've ever heard, and I love rock music. That stuff was dog shit, and that's all I can tell you. Beyond that, though, everything else in the film, which is just a very, very small score, that score is very, very well done, and it does complement the film very well. But I just had to mention those two maybe 3 like rock songs that play on the fucking radio that the hitchhikers brought with them. That music was just complete shit. In terms of sound mix, everything here is very good. Lighting is sort of another spot where this film kind of falters a little bit, because mind you, this whole film takes place over the course of one night. We have a couple of shots where it clearly looks like they shot it around noon, because you have sunlight pouring in and it's still supposed to be like 2 a.m. It just doesn't look right. In fact, there's actually like one scene, well, it's actually two scenes, but they kind of split it a little bit. And that is the biggest problem with it, is just that it's too brightly lit when everything else is dark as hell. There also is another problem when it comes to whenever people are holding on to fucking candles. The candles are not actually giving off enough light, because candles naturally don't really give off a ton of light. And when the camera pulls in towards them, of course, right there is the light source which the candle is supposed to be giving off. So they are in almost complete darkness when the camera's at the other end of the hole. When the camera gets closer, they suddenly get brighter, and that happens like twice, and it seems so out of place, seems so goofy, that once more, that honestly is like the sort of goofy bullshit that I have a bad habit of noticing, and nobody else is really going to. But I did kind of want to mention it just because you might be the sort of person who notices that kind of shit too. All in all, am I able to recommend Dolls? Kind of. What I would say is rent it first. If you have like a Blockbuster or a Family Video or something in your town, rent this thing. And if you don't have that, this thing is hopefully on Netflix. You might be able to find it on Hulu, or, well, this is from MGM, and they might have this thing on YouTube for, say, a fucking rental. By all means, check it out, and you're really going to have to make your own call, because it just fell way too, average for me to really give this thing a solid recommendation. However, I honestly am kind of happy to have a copy of it, so who knows? You guys might honestly be into this too. Now, Dolls came off of the Amazon.com wish list. The person who sent it in, I really hope I'm pronouncing your screen name right. The person who sent it in is a YouTuber by the name of Zombie Puro. I am going to put and once more, I really hope that I am pronouncing that right, and if I completely butchered it, let me know, and I'm terribly sorry about that. So, I am going to provide a link to that person's channel, and thank you. I kind of bypassed this movie when I was younger. I kept on seeing it in every single video store I would walk into. I sometimes saw it for rental, I sometimes saw it for sale, and I never even looked at it. I never even looked at it beyond the cover. So I kind of missed out, because this movie was pretty good, and I could have watched this thing almost 20 years ago, and I would have probably fallen in love with it. That is, if I could get past the first half and not feel the urge to shut it off. So yeah, again, thank you, and I would like you guys to go and check out that YouTube channel and just go and see what's all over there. And once more, Zombie, Puro, again, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you very much. And with that, folks, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.